VOICEBOX is a Ticci Toby fanfiction consisting of 12 chapters and was first published on Quotev on the 29th of March 2014. Obviously, all signs point towards it being a magnum opus, so therefore I thought I would read the story together with you all, so we can dull the pain together. Each week, every Tuesday, I'll upload a new chapter. Let's call it Tiki Tuesdays. Now, it begins. VOICEBOX, a Ticci Toby love story. Chapter 5. Toby and I practiced hand-to-hand combat for a couple of hours while I waited for Father to find the spell to bring my sister back. Hand-to-hand combat with Toby was interesting to say the least. About half the time I would end up pinning him to the ground and blushing. The other half of the time he would get me pinned and I would still blush. I'm usually not comfortable around guys, but with Toby it's different. I feel safe when I'm with him, and he knows what it's like to be picked on and bullied for being different. I couldn't really tell with his face mostly covered, but I think I saw Toby blush a couple of times too. 2 hours had passed and Father still hadn't called for me, so Toby and I headed into the kitchen for a snack and some water. "Oh, my dear little sister is falling in love. You two are so cute together." What? No, I'm not! Why would you say that? I could feel myself blush at Rebecca's comment and I stared down at the ground as Toby looked in the fridge for something to eat. "Deny it all you want, Shayla, but I know you are. I am in your head after all. You don't have to be embarrassed about it. Toby seems like a very nice boy, and he is only a year older than you. I think he likes you too." "Really? You think he likes me? How can you tell?" I felt my tail wag happily at the thought that Toby might like me. "He sneaks glances at you when he thinks you are not looking, and we both saw him blush when you managed to pin him during practice. Plus, he looked really jealous when Jeff tried to kiss you last night. So what should I do?" "Well, next time he does something nice for you, try hugging him." "Okay, sissy." "Pancakes!" I jumped slightly when Toby yelled. Toby and I were both happy to see that there were plenty of pancakes left over from breakfast and we chatted while we ate. I told Toby about Father's plan to resurrect Rebecca and how her soul was with me. I felt like I could tell him anything. We talked about how my aunt and uncle had hit me and how I was bullied in school, though I left out my uncle's punishments and what Joel and Biff tried to do to me, other than the beating and how they planned to kill me. I didn't want Toby to know about that. I didn't want him to start hating me. It was about a half an hour later that Father called both Toby and I up to his office. After I hugged Father, Toby and I sat down and Father handed me a list. "This is a list of everything we need to bring Rebecca back. I need you and Toby to collect all these items by the end of the week. According to the spell book, it will take me a week to prepare the herbs, to make the smudge sticks and the eye ointments." "Okay, Father, Toby and I will get right on it," I said as I jumped up and hugged him again. "Come on, Toby, let's go." "Toby, please make sure that nothing happens to VOICEBOX while you are out." Toby nodded and followed me out of the office. "So, what are we looking for, VOICEBOX?" I looked down at the list. "A bunch of dried white sage, a bundle of dried rosemary, lavender extract, 6 dried willow switches, 1/8 inch in diameter and 8 inches long, 3 black taper candles, 3... You couldn't have summarized this? 3 red taper candles, 3 purple taper candles, 9 sterling silver candlesticks, a black marble mortar, and pestle, 5... Oh my god, how many things do you need? 5 Apache's Tears crystals, at least 2 inches long, 5 medium-sized onyx stones, 5 amethysts crystals between 2 and 4 inches long. Oh my fucking god, I don't care about this! 3 pounds of powdered chalk, a ceremonial dagger blessed by a voodoo priestess, a vial of king scorpion venom, a fat live chicken, 6 rattlesnake tails, and Rebecca's body. I raised an eyebrow and looked over at Toby. Well, I know where we can get everything but the dagger! The venom, the snake tails, and the chicken! Do you think they advertise voodoo shops in the yellow pages, Toby? It can't hurt to try. If not, I'm sure we can find one on the internet. He said with a laugh. Well, if we are going to go shopping, we are going to have to change clothes. Yeah, and I'll have to hide my ears and tail. I think I have a hat in my room that will work, and a long skirt will hide my tail. I'll meet you downstairs in a few minutes. I ran up to my room and changed into a long blue skirt, a blue spaghetti string top, and my black running shoes. I styled my hair so it would hide my left eye, and put my black Stetson cowboy hat on to hide my ears. Once I was sure that I looked human, I grabbed my now empty backpack, stuck my Skinners in the side pockets, and ran back downstairs. Toby looked different too. He was wearing black leather pants, a red t-shirt that showed off his muscular chest and arms, black hiking boots, and a brown backpack. He still had his mouth guard and goggles on, but he had brushed his hair so it wasn't sticking up everywhere. He looked hot in those pants and that shirt. I couldn't help but blush. As I walked up to him, I remembered Sissy's advice and decided to take it. When I reached him, I wrapped my arms around his waist and laid my head on his chest. Thanks, Toby. I'm glad that you're going with me. I felt Toby stiffen briefly before he relaxed and hugged me back. No problem, VOICEBOX. I like being with you. I blushed as I tilted my head and looked up at Toby. He was slightly blushing too. After a minute, we both pulled back and headed to the human realm. It only took about 2.5 hours to get into the slightly larger town of Rosenberg. I knew that I wouldn't be able to find a Wiccan shop in Elmira, plus I didn't want 2 chance running into anyone who knew me, but I remembered Rebecca bringing me into Rosenberg the summer before she died. When I asked her about it, she had also remembered seeing a Wiccan store there too, and that it hadn't been too far from the ice cream parlor she had taken me to that day. Just before we left the woods, Toby took off his goggles and his mouth guard and put them in his backpack. I had thought he was handsome with them, but he was completely hot without them. His eyes were a dazzling hazel color, and his face was slightly rugged looking with a straight nose, a firm chin, and kissable lips. When he smiled down at me, I saw his teeth were bright white and perfectly straight, because yes, of course creepypastas have access to, brushing their teeth and, dental services. Yes, of course they have time for that. I blushed and smiled back up at him as Rebecca giggled in my head. I quickly looked back towards the town and started looking for that Wiccan shop. We were in luck. The shop was still there and had most of what we needed. Toby and I searched through the stones and crystals for over an hour until we found the ones we needed. They even had the candlesticks, rattlesnake tails, and dried herb. Well, how convenient. The only things we didn't find there were the venom, chicken dagger, and of course Rebecca's body. After we bought everything and stowed it away in our backpacks, we headed down the street. I noticed that the ice cream parlor Sissy and I had gone to was still there as well. I guess Toby must have seen my wistful look because he offered to buy us some ice cream for the trip back home. I smiled up at him and gave him another hug. As he hugged me back, I felt him run his hand through my hair. Why don't you wait over by the woods while I grab the ice cream? That way you can take a break from walking. The line isn't long, so I should only be a few minutes. Toby said as he walked me to the edge of the woods. Sure, thanks Toby. I'd like a cherry vanilla cone, please. No problem. Be back soon. He turned and jogged off towards the ice cream parlor. A few minutes later, I saw a group of 4 teenage boys headed my direction. They were wearing stripped jeans, muscle shirts, and leather boots. 2 of them were wearing chains, and all 4 of them looked like trouble. Shayla, we need to go now. I don't like the looks of those boys. Well, don't you know, Rebecca, you shouldn't judge a book by their cover, goddammit. I know, sissy, but I can't just leave Toby here. He should be here anytime now. Now, I knew I could handle 2 of them without too much difficulty, but with 4 of them I didn't think I could win by myself, so I slipped back into the tree line and checked to see if Toby was on his way yet. How do you know that these people are dangerous? Sure, they might look dangerous, but have they done anything to you or to Toby? Why are you afraid? You're gonna fucking kill them, aren't you? They're probably not gonna do anything, and you're still gonna kill them just because they look bad, and that's reason enough, right? I didn't see him, but when I looked back at the group of boys, I saw that 2 of them had disappeared. I knew that this was not good news. They were probably already in the woods to catch me if I could slip away from their buddies. I slipped further back into the woods, quickly trying to find a place to hide while I waited for Toby to come help me. But before I knew it, the 2 boys had me trapped between them and a tree. Yes, of course, because every man that isn't Toby is a fucking sex-driven rapist. You know, Jeff wanted to fuck you. You know, the fucking boys in your school wanted to fuck you, and now these biker dudes want to fuck you too. Every man is a rapist except for Toby, didn't you know? Hey there, beautiful. What's a cute little thing like you doing out here by yourself? One of them asked as the other one crowded closer to me, making escape impossible. I know, the other one said as he picked up a lock of my hair and started playing with it. You probably saw us in town, and we were just waiting for us to come find you, weren't you, babe? Leave me alone! I'm waiting for my boyfriend! I almost growled as the first one leaned in closer and slid his right hand around my waist. I slapped his hand away from me. Don't touch me, and just go away! Don't be like that, beautiful. I'm sure your boyfriend won't mind if we keep you company for a bit. Yeah, babe, we can have some fun while we wait. What do you say? I suddenly froze in place. In my mind, I was trapped back in that meadow in the woods with Biff and Joel. I could feel my breathing pick up and my face go pale. I never wanted to be in this situation again. I flashed back to all those times I was helpless to stop my uncle from raping me. I felt my chest tighten as those scenes just kept repeating over and over again in my mind. Well, isn't this just fucking fun? Isn't this fun? I could faintly hear Rebecca trying to calm me down and some kind of hollow thuds. Ooh, but I was trapped in my mind and couldn't move. The next thing I knew, someone was hugging me tightly and I panicked, struggling to get away from whoever was holding me, but I couldn't break free. Not again, never again, you're dead, you can't touch me anymore, no please, let me go, I didn't do anything, no more punishments please, I'll be good, just please don't do this, please. I whimpered over and over again as I struggled and tears streamed down my face. Please not again! VOICEBOX, calm down! I felt someone turning me to face them. Calm down! It's me, Toby! Sweetie, they're gone! You're safe! No one is going to hurt you! I'm here now! Toby? I looked up at Toby and started sobbing. I wrapped my arms around him, clinging to him tightly as I wept. I'm sorry, Toby. There's nothing to be sorry for. He ran his hand through my hair and hugged me tightly. I'll keep you safe, VOICEBOX. Shayla. My real name is Shayla. Shayla? Toby lifted my chin and gently kissed my lips. Oh! OTP, it's finally happening! Ooh! The kiss was over before I really realized that he had kissed me. I blushed as I wiped the last of my tears off my face. I glanced up at Toby through my lashes and saw him blush too. Shayla? Would you be my girlfriend? I'd love to be your girlfriend, Toby, but there is something I have to tell you first. I knew that if I wanted to have Toby as my boyfriend, I'd have to tell him about what happened to me. I would need him to understand why sometimes I would break down like I did today. I couldn't keep this from him. Just promise me you won't tell anyone, please? I won't tell anyone, Shayla. I promise. Toby rubbed my back and cradled me in his arms as I told him about how my uncle would punish me by beating me while he raped me, and how Joel and Biff were going to rape me too before killing me. I told him how when I was concerned by those guys, I was trapped in my own mind and couldn't move. I cried again as I told him that he, Father and Rebecca were the only ones who knew the whole story, and were allowed to call me by my real name. Please don't hate me, Toby. I couldn't bear it if you hated me, I whispered after I finished telling him everything. He hugged me tighter and tilted my chin up so I was looking him in the eyes. I could never hate you, Shayla. None of what happened to you was your fault. I just wish those assholes were still alive so I could kill them again. I love you, Shayla. Don't let the past keep us apart. I still want you to be mine. Toby leaned down and kissed me again. Just another sweet, gentle kiss, and I melted into him and kissed him back. After we broke apart, I looked around. The first thing I noticed is that it was getting dark. The second thing I noticed was the lifeless bodies of the 4 guys. Toby, we may want to head home now before those boys' parents send out a search party for them. On the way you can tell me what happened while I was out of it, okay? Sure. Do you want me to carry you? You must be tired. That's sweet, Toby, but I can walk. If I get tired, I'll let you know. I leaned in and kissed Toby's cheek, then blushed. Toby held my hand and told me how when he got there, all 4 of the boys had been standing around me. He didn't even stop to see what they were up to. All he saw was my face was pale white and I was shaking. He had taken his hatchets out of his backpack and killed 2 before they even knew they weren't alone. The other 2 had tried to run as soon as they saw their buddies were dead, but Toby managed to kill them too. That is when he noticed that I wasn't responding anything and had pulled me into a hug. It was almost time for dinner when we arrived home, so Toby and I quickly ran up to our rooms to change. We sat next to each other during dinner and I couldn't help sneaking glances over at him. A few times I caught him glancing at me too, and we would share a small smile, blush and look back at our dinner. After dinner, Toby and I grabbed our backpacks and headed to Father's office. He called us in before we had a chance to knock, and pulled me into a hug. I already know what happened today. Your sister informed me of what transpired earlier during dinner. I am glad that you are alright, dear daughter, and though I dislike the idea of you having a suitor, I know that I can trust Toby to keep you safe. You have my blessing to court my daughter, Toby. Thank you, Slender. Thank you, Father. We also have some good news. We managed to get almost everything on the list. We just need the venom, the dagger, the chicken, and Rebecca's body. We handed over the shopping bags we had tucked into our backpacks. That is very good news, Shayla. Tomorrow I would like the 2 of you to search the internet and see if you can find a voodoo shop near here. If there is not one within walking distance from here, I will have to transport you to the nearest one. Then Thursday night we will retrieve Rebecca's body and I will be able to start the preparations. Okay, Father. Yes, Slender. Very well. Now come give me a hug and head off to bed. I had to laugh when Toby joined in on the hug. Father chuckled and I got the feeling that he would have rolled his eyes if he could have. Toby, child, you know I was speaking to Shayla. I know, but I wanted a hug too. You have been like a father to me ever since I killed my father. Besides, I like hugs. I smiled over at Toby while still hugging Father. I know, child. I think of you as my child as well. All the children living here are as dear to me as my own daughters, though some of them tend to give me quite a few headaches. Shayla, I am quite glad that you chose Toby as a suitor over Jeffrey or Ben. Those 2 alone give me more headaches than all the rest of the children combined do. The hug ended. Toby and I wished father good night and went to our rooms to get some sleep. I knew that the next day was going to be just as hectic as the one had been. That concludes Chapter 5.